up? So, since the previous video, I'm now 83, closing on 84 on the clad. However, I found a Kikazaru, and I hyped up Sanctum of Thought. In this patch, they added a 20% reduced effect of curses on you in there. So I was like pretty hyped up because you could do a totem build using this and Soul Mantle, and then 2 Kikazarus. We'll talk about that in soon. So I ended up just like not playing the clad. I was doing some low tier red maps and it was fine. There's a lot of damage losing, like missing from just like low level gems, no quality and shit like that. But oh yeah, and I don't even have overlap done, and this is actually a lot of extra damage. But I think that I might just end up respeccing this to a player at some point and then just going crit. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. But the fact that I'm using like a 500 DPS axe that's like almost 400 DPS axe, and it's not like absolutely destroying everything. Like, sure, I don't have like a massive investment in damage or anything like that, but I feel like OP weapons like this should, you know, carry me a bit. Then again, I'm only 83. There's a lot of damage I will take, and like I basically have more life than a lot of softcore builds have, like level 95. So I'm just like a high investment in life. But oh god, so many characters. I don't usually have this. Usually like clinging to one character more. But yeah. So quickly. Soul Mantle gives you a +1 maximum totem. It has a level 20 socketed, I mean like a spell totem link there. And whenever your totem dies, a level 20 curse is inflicted on you. So what this means in practice is when you're just spamming totems like this, you can get up to 13 curses on yourself. And one Kikazaru has 40% reduced effective curse on you. So by having 2, that's 80. And then when you take Sanctum of Thought, now you have 100% reduced curse effect, like effective curse on you, which means these actually do nothing. So basically this gives for 2 ring slots and 4 points in the skill tree. You get a +1 totem, you get a 7 link, and if you combine all of this with self-flagellation, this could go all the way to 20%. You could gain up to 260% damage at peak. It's very easy to sustain like having 10 curses while mapping, like really easy. But yeah, on top of that, everything else is like random rares. Well, I have a +1 max totems shield. This is actually just like a randomly found shield somewhere along the lines. I think I might have even showcased it at some point in some of the update videos. But I took off the devouring item from the necro, and I'm running level 3, actually level 2 enlightened is enough, with a wrath, zealotry, discipline. So at level 80 now, I'm like what, 6k effective HP pool, which is pretty nice. And well, don't have sadly a 7th yet. But I've gotten a lot of questions why I decided to go Inquisitor and not a Hierophant. And well, there's a couple of reasons. I have a couple different things here. So let's take a look at the Inquisitor first. Like the skill trees are basically the same, except with the Inquisitor here. I've made a couple different skill tree variations. There's a lot of different options you can do. You could go down into Marauder, put the Transcendent Plus or the non-upgraded version here. This is a decent chunk of crit multi. That's like what, 75% crit multi right there. So you could do that. You could go more into Shadow for life. You could go through Wicked Ward, which I don't think you need as an Inquisitor. which is partly why I went there, but it's definitely an option and it doesn't really matter too much. The only difference is if you have Throat Cheek or any base in your build, then it's just 1, 2, 3 plus 4 versus going through this. It's not really a big deal. And as you can see in this skill tree, I didn't even have Shaman's Dominion because it's actually so many points and doesn't end up really needing it. Like if you look at this, right, this is 1 totem. This is the DPS of 1 totem. I have 6. And this is like an actually achievable Shaper DPS. So that's like 1 mil Shaper DPS. The config is fine. We have power charges. I can have Stormbrand with Peacock. You can have a very long onslaught from. Well, you can also, one thing, you could link your Stormbrand wherever the fuck it is. I don't actually have it on this setup at all, it looks like. Oh yeah, there. So you could link onslaught in there, and with the cast speed that the Inquisitor gets, well, you could actually have onslaught during boss fights. But popping on wall right shows fire. I don't even know if I have it somewhere here. Doesn't look. Oh, there. Well, first of all, you get a decent amount of damage during the duration of it, and after that, there is a craft you can put on boots or gloves or something like that. This is 56% damage is during Soul Game Prevention. You could also be onslaught during Soul. I mean, you can have both. You can have both. So there's that. So this just doesn't. There's just so many things in the skill tree that there's actually a point where you wouldn't take Shaman's Dominion, which is very weird. What I'm end up gonna be most likely is either this or this, which is 1 less point for a tiny bit extra damage, and you don't have Wicked Ward. So that's the difference between these two is just Wicked Ward, and this is 1 level higher. So I will probably try this without the Wicked Ward. If I need the Wicked Ward, then I just pre-pad it, no big deal. And as you can see, I don't even have Throat Seeker here. Throat Seeker is actually less damage than Arcane Potency. Not by much, but yeah. So this is now like what's 1.2 mil Shaper DPS now, which is pretty decent, and that's like almost 7k effective HP pool. And yeah, I really like Devouring Diadem, and it takes a lot of the mana issues out of the build with this. So then we can take a look at the Hierophant. The skill tree is basically the same. I don't have the many different things here. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna put all these 3 POPs in the description. But yeah, basically no difference in skill tree. You gain a bit of DPS. However, in here, in our links, we don't actually have multi-totem. So right now we would be at 7 totems, which would be more DPS. But just having faster casting is actually more DPS. This is now 5 totems, so this is like 1.5 mil. The big issue with this setup is that we only have 5 totems. So right, we get 1 from the skill tree. I'm gonna talk about why I'm here in a second. We get 1 from here. We get 1 from the body armor, and then 1 from the shield, and then from here, and then you have the base. So the issue with this system is that whenever you cast your totems, right, when you do this, you actually end up getting your curses way slower, because you, instead of having 6, you have 5. So if I take that off, and let's wait the curses out a bit. Instead of like always getting rid of 2, I mean, you start getting rid of 2 for sure, but it feels it's hard to explain, but it feels really bad. But it takes a tiny bit longer to get started. So that's 1. Also, now I need to. Do I have my big boy dexterity item? So I can put that back on. I don't think I do. Because I need to get some dexterity so I can snapshot this on because it's a dexterity. Either way. So you get a bit of more damage. Potential. But you lose a lot of survivability. So you lose the amazing nearby enemies deal less elemental damage. There's an option for that in the Hierophant too. This is 200 flat ES region, which is really nice. Like with, that's a decent amount of percentage out there from your max ES pool, and on top of that, you're spamming abilities so often that the devouring items 10% chance for ES recharge start procs very often, even if you're taking damage. But that's if you take quick advantage, then the 200 is still 100, which is still pretty good. It's still a like really hefty amount of just pure region. Both of the setups get immunity to elemental elements. If you were to go for the arcane surge setup in there, you get a lot of more attack and cast speed. If you're using lightning spark trap, cast speed is really important. It scales the damage of it crazy. Attack speed is really nice for shield charge or vigilance strike if you're using that. Also, this means that you're attacking faster, which means 10% chance for proccing the devouring item is there, and the damage is already good. So like right now, this is like what 1.2 mil versus like 1.4, 1.5 from the Hierophant, and the reason why the Hierophant is so much better is better and better is you get arcane surge from one of the bad things, but you can actually get that through command of the pit. So I need to actually now do this. So now suddenly the damage of the Inquisitor is pretty much the same, but you get the extra benefit of quality of life. Instead of having 5 totems, you have 6. It's like a nice 2 at a time, which just feels really good. You could potentially do all kind of the same kind of different pathings and whatnot with this, but on a Hierophant, you're pretty much forced to use Weekend Bard because you don't have any. At least, yeah, you don't have any ES region otherwise. And the reason why you go for the Arcane Blessing, well, there's 2 reasons. Arcane Surge is literally 10% more damage. There's really no other good way for us to get Arcane Surge because we're EB, so we're using Energy Shield instead of mana to cast our skills. So we can't have like, Flame Dash, Arcane Surge. So if we take this out, where are you? You actually lose a lot of damage. Like a lot of damage. And not only it's more damage, it's also some cast speed, which is really nice. But as you can see, that's a lot of damage you lose. So the other option would be like this. And now we have to drop that. And now the damage is really low. That's like, it's still like 1.2 mil Shaper DPS. And you could, of course, use command of the pit here as well. I don't actually have it on setup here, but you could do that. But I just think overall, the Inquisitor is a better choice. One could say that you could do also, actually in this particular setup, I have made this nearby enemy take increased elemental damage because that's what you would get from the Sign of Purpose by having a brand on a boss, and then it gives you a tiny bit of extra damage. So that's just there. Okay. So the good thing is here is of course getting the ailment immunity. Like sure, you would get some endurance charges here. Power charges doesn't really matter because you can just have like a power charge on crits on a Stormbrand or something like that. But yeah, so Shaper DPS setup on both are. Oh yeah, I guess you're still getting Consecrated Ground on a Hierophant. It's a bit less inconsistent than on an Inquisitor, which is another reason why I want to go for there. But yeah, nothing like too crazy setups here. And yeah, since I found the since I found the next, like the second ring, I just like, I promised to make a build around it at the start of the league. So, well, here I am. I might try out some other spells as well on top of Arc. I'm leveling Divine Ire, I'm leveling Stormburst. Might be leveling something else too, I don't remember. But I'm probably definitely gonna try those. And the good thing about both of those skills is that since they are channeling skills, the mana cost of, you know, when you create a totem or place a totem is like really, really small. So you could actually be like a life ES hybrid instead of EPMOM, but I just want to use an item right now because it allows me to go all of the 3 hours. I can run Discipline, I can run 2 damage hours. I could drop one of the damage hours for Flesh and Stone and then another Herald if I wanted more survivability, which I could do. Pain Attunement is clicked on all of the 3 right now because, well, this wouldn't be this would be like probably a Lethal Pride for the block, because then in like, let's say you have like a 30% block shield. Normally this is like 30% damage from there, but now it gets doubled, so that's another 30% spell damage that is not shown here. Depending on what you would get on Arcane Vision and Crackling Speed, because this covers both of them, this could be another 8% life. I mean, like 16% life if you would have it on all of the 4. And there's some other good mods as well there. So it's also not showing all the, like, the life is actually a bit higher because of the strength you would get from all of these. This is like what you get, extra 8 from there. That's another 8, like another 12. Well, that's a decent amount of extra stats you would get. You could also pass through this. You could pass through this, lose a bit of tiny damage. So it's basically just like, what can I get for 1 skill point? Well, you can reroute this. If you look at this damage, Totem, for 1 point, that's like 6k, which is pretty good. If you get crit chance, then you get spell damage from there. But yeah. A lot of people say that you should always play Hierophant because you get totem placement speed, so you get like 90% totem placement speed. Well, you can craft up to 30% to boots and an amulet, and even I have one on my boots, and I already feel like that's fine. Like my placement speed is like this like feels totally fine while mapping. I have no issues with this at all. You could potentially even go down here and do all of this shit, but I don't personally like it. Even though it's a lot of life, get the primal manifestation and whatnot. Oh, also one thing I didn't mention, you should absolutely get a Spire of Stone. I don't have, like, sadly have one, but it makes your totems just basically always be able to cast their skills. But yeah. And then if you are playing in Trade League, especially if you're playing Train Softcore, I would probably recommend buying a Atsu's Reflection if you have the monies to do that, and then get a Coward's Legacy, which means you're always going to be cursed with level 2 many vulnerability anyways through the chest piece, but you count as low life while you're cursed with vulnerability, and then you could actually use this as a more multiplier. But the damage you get, like, you lose life, right? Because you have to use a shield with no life, you have to use a belt with no life. So in this case, I think you would actually just go like CI or something like that, and then drop maybe even drop the Soul Mantle. I don't know. I don't really like the idea of the Atsu's Reflection myself. For the damage that you gain, this is 6 totems, by the way, now, I think. Because in this setup, I dropped the faster casting and put multiple totems. It also feels bad to be taking Ritual of Awakening and using the multiple totems, because they don't stack, they don't give you 4, it's still 2 totems every time you cast it. But yeah, since people really played, especially Arc totems last time, we didn't really have the multi totems because I was doing like Delve, and now that we have the Sanctum of Thought. It's a really easy way to make a budget build that has a really high damage. And I personally like playing totems, so you know. Oh yeah, literally the only change I did here between the Archer's Reflection build and the non-Archer's Reflection is just drop this, and then you can take Arcane Potency. Oh yeah, this would actually be shocking Shaper for a decent amount. Like we have an average hit of 150k. It's literally pure. I mean, okay, so there's some chaos damage scaling from a weapon, but that's with over 500 crit multi. So while the average is like this, the top end hits are actually like multiple 100,000s higher than this, especially with lightning skills, because the damage variance is so high. You can actually do some decent shocks to like Shaper with this. Yeah, I guess there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that's related to the Devouring Diadem. So the trigger level 15 Feast of Flesh is a heal. I don't know if I can actually see it here. No. So it gives you, for each corpse consumed, it gives 400 life. I think it's 200 mana and 400 energy shield. So if you have a way to generate corpses, like while you're mapping, that's fine, of course. You just kill shit and there's corpses and you just get healed. But even for during boss fights, if you look at my weapon here, this is like what I would like my weapon to be. I don't have an 85 Wand, Dagger, or Scepter right now, so I can't go for the T1 gain Elias Chaos damage. But that's something I would eventually go. And you can see trigger Socket spell when you use a skill. So what you can do is you can do Desecrate with Spell Cascade, which makes the Desecrate cast 3 times instead of 1, and that will give you 15 corpses. So you can actually have a really nice life and ES gains during boss fights as well. And that's like one of the reasons why I'm wondering if I need to even take Wicked Ward for the Inquisitor build. I still think that for Hierophant you probably want to take it, because then the only way, like if you don't have this, then if you have taken damage, you have the spamming skills really fast to proc the energy shield recharge. But yeah, slap in Desecrate with like Spell Cascade, and you can put like Steel Skin there too for automated Steel Skin use without having it on a cast when damage taken or casting it yourself. So that's extra damage mitigation plus extra just buffer while mapping without actually doing anything yourself. It's automatically happening every. I think the trigger Socket spell when you use a skill is either a 4 or 5 second cooldown. I don't remember exactly which one it is. But it's just a really nice way of getting, you know, some sustain for like long fights where you might not have like life flasks and whatnot. Sadly, it's 5 seconds. If it was like less heal but more often, that would be like really nice. But yeah, another reason why I don't think that the Archer's Reflection setup good is because then you would lose the block node here. You would lose potentially a lot of good shit from here. Like this is like 16% life from like, this is what you would take. Like you would drop like one of the clusters here, or this is like 6 points. You could like do this, and then I don't know, here it makes your shocks actually better as well. So it has some hidden DPS that isn't calculated anywhere, and obviously you're not going to be doing this because this just applies to 50%. Not many builds are getting that. But yeah, I'm excited to play Arc. I have had 0 issues. I've actually opened like, whenever I'm doing monoliths, I'm pretty much opening everything. I would show you a map right now, but I'm too lazy to go find myself a dexterity item so I can buck that in. And it's already like over 20 minutes video. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Hopefully I don't die. I'll probably end up dying to some big chaos hit, because the EB's biggest weakness is chaos damage, and I only have, you know, minus 27. or just getting hit by like one big ass one shot or like 2 hits in a row, because I don't even have the block stuff going on for myself yet. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.